Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of 3 Geeks Flix. Joining me as always is the man with the devilish smirk and grin, the muse, Justin Kyle. Say hello everyone, Justin.
Hello everyone.
Yes, and of course I'm the tech Mitchell Wright. We are back and we have a clutch. We have not done a clutch in quite some time. So before we get started, I'm going to make the muse explain to you what a clutch is.
Oh man, I always forget you do this when we do these. So a clutch essentially is you're flipping through the channels on your television and you come across a unknown channel and you can tell right away it's playing a movie that you haven't watched in a while, but it's like finding a treat in your refrigerator you forgot was there and you're saving for a rainy day. You get so excited, you're like, yes, I know what I'm doing for the next 2 hours. Maybe you do some laundry while you watch it. It's not a groundbreaking. They usually fall around the 8.5 range, give or take.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's something that as soon as you see it on TV, you're like, yes, fist pump, I'm in. And you enjoy the 2-hour adventure.
I'm trying to think how I would spend 2 hours eating something I found in my fridge for a later date, but I'm going to go with it on that and say,
Yep.
As I always do, I look to you, good muse, and say, Justin, give it to me. What you got?
Okay, so I think my first one on my list is a textbook clutch. It didn't come out too long ago, but I love this film. Me and my brother quote this film all the time, sometimes in a funny, sarcastic way, and sometimes we're not being funny. It is the 2010 Ben Affleck flick called The Town.
The Town.
94% on Rotten Tomatoes, all-star cast, Ben Affleck, Blake Lively, Jeremy Renner, and what I think is his best role. Jeremy Renner, yep. I think he's kind of overrated, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Rebecca Hall, John Hamm, Pete Postlethwaite. I can never pronounce that guy's name.
Nah, I'm not going to help you.
You know who I'm talking about, though. He was
I
the
do,
priest
but
in Dragonheart.
I can't help you, but yeah.
Yeah, he's an original gangster for sure. He does a lot of stage acting. But anyways, I digress. This is an awesome flick, man, all the way through. This is a throwback to the action adventures of the 90s, you know, like the Heats. I mean, bank robbing, modern day, Boston Harbor, forget about it. I'm putting this whole town in my review. Yeah, man, it's a classic film. It's a classic film. Anytime this comes on, again, I get excited. I'm like, yes, I know what I'm doing for the next 2 hours.
Okay.
I'm watching this movie.
What's your number for it?
I'll give it an 8.75.
Oh, we pulled out the .75. All right.
Well, I think it deserves more than 8.5, and I don't feel comfortable quite giving it a 9. So.
Okay. Fair enough. Oh, moving along to my first one. We're going to go back in the day for me. Now, I'm a child of the 80s. I was born in 80, of course, ladies and gentlemen. So there is quite a significant age difference, as the muses and I have discussed before. It is a 1982 film. It is directed by Mr. Jim Henson. Has in it Mr. Frank Oz. It is The Dark Crystal. Now, I know a lot of people have seen that here lately Netflix is picking up and doing a new series on The Dark Crystal. But the thing is, you need to know about this movie, it is really the OG of puppetry. And from the OG of any type of puppetry, especially puppetry that was used and was carried on through movies like Star Wars and There and Beyond, from Henson and Oz. So, classic film. Great live action fantasy puppetry, kind of the days before CGI. There's not a bit of computer animation in this. Great portrayals. really, if you have not watched this film, you youngsters, go out there and check it out. Pick it up. It is worth owning. I guarantee you, your kids will love it. My brother, the Sage, of course, is 5 years my senior. He loved it. It carried down. My folks enjoyed it, and it's kind of a family affair. But I don't care how, when, where, or what time or why it's on. I could be dead asleep, and I'll put it on. So, Dark Crystal, it is a 9. It is a 9.
Yeah, we talked about this before. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I know you speak very highly of it.
Yes, and you are far poorer for not seeing it.
Right. And, yeah, I'll immediately disavow myself from this channel.
Moving along.
Okay. My next film is the criminally underrated. I'm sure you'll agree if you've seen this, which you better have seen this. Okay. It is a 2014 Doug Liman film, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes, I've seen Edge of Tomorrow.
I like you said that. Like, yeah, I've seen it. Look who you're talking to. But yeah, man. Then you should agree how criminally underrated sci-fi film this is, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, we talked about this a little bit before. It has some Groundhog's Day in the mix to it, but that's a terrible comparison if you're going to try to compare them at all.
Very much so.
Of course, Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, the great Bill Paxton, the late great Bill Paxton, rest in peace. Bill. The great Brendan Gleeson as well.
Yes. Yes, very much so.
Doug Liman of the Bourne films, some of the franchise. There's nothing bad about this movie, in my opinion. I can't think of a single thing that is just okay about it.
Right, I agree.
The story is extremely intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
The acting is great. The acting is very good. Emily Blunt got into crazy shape for it. Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise. You don't have to say anything else about that. The action was pretty badass.
Yes.
Like, if you go back and you watch it.
Yes, it was.
What makes this, and this is a notoriously bad example of terrible marketing. So this did not make near as much money as it should have at the box office.
Oh, I absolutely agree. It had potential.
It did, and this is. I don't want to say it's developed a cult following, but people that have seen it, just like you and I, were like, "Yes, this movie is awesome."
Yes, it is.
And if you go back and you watch the trailers are really kind of misrepresent what the tone of it is.
Yeah.
They play that terribly depressing song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Can't think of the name.
The end.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like that. It had some funny parts. This is, again, Tom Cruise was funny in this. We were talking about this with The Mummy.
Yes.
He had some really funny parts, especially when he kept dying over and over. I mean, it was just so... What makes this thing is the action and the special effects were as good as the story was, and how intelligent the story was, and how well written the story was.
Yeah.
And because of that, and the chronological order of things, you got to imagine how difficult that was to film, keeping track of all that stuff. So, I mean, man, it makes me... This is one of those ones where it's just sad because of how underwatched this film is. It's criminally underrated.
Okay. I agree. What's your number for it?
I give it a 9.
I would agree. It is definitely a 9. 9 easy. Moving along to my second film. This film has a cult following. This film, I know, has been spoken about in colleges, especially with philosophy majors. It is a 1998 film by the Coen brothers. It stars the epic Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, and Julianne Moore in The Big Lebowski. Dude.
Yep.
Need I say anything else?
And here comes the necklace.
Yeah, dude, this movie, man, it's... And I said, dude, man, right there, right off the back, you can't help it after you say it.
Yeah.
A movie truly, honestly, kind of about nothing.
Yep.
In reality, it's about nothing but everything that goes crazy in his life, just in those few short hours. And I can't imagine anyone else but the people that were in this movie pulling this off and making this to what it is. This came out in 98, so I watched it in high school and watched it a lot in college. And I had a fraternity brother who, like, Loved this movie. Absolutely loved this movie. And he was a philosophy major. And it cracks me up because every time I think of this movie, I think of him. And it would be on in his room. He'd have it just playing. And I couldn't help myself. I'd like gravitate toward it, and I'd have to sit down. And there we go, the few hours of my life just sitting there watching it again and again. And
Right.
and it truly became that clutch film to where if there was really nothing else going on and I heard it playing, I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was going to do. And
Right.
what better way than to have all those, like, you know, because it poses a lot of questions. It kind of make you think. If you look at the philosophical and the questioning side and the art form side of it, it really kind of makes you think about life and a lot of other things. And I know people are like, what the hell's he talking about? But
Right.
truly and honestly, sit back down, watch it, look at it that point of view. I guarantee you, if you're in school and you watch this show and you've got a philosophy class or something like that, write a paper on it. I guarantee you, you'll get that A, baby. You'll get that A. So, and it's a 9.5. This movie is a 9.5. It is just shy of epic 10 status. It is a 9.5 film. It's not quite a 10 because it just doesn't win me over totally, but it is a 9.5. And the Muse may disagree, but that's fine.
If the Muse was going to disagree, he would say it would be a 10.
Yes.
But he will not disagree. I think that's fair. Again, considering what a 10 is, I think the 10 is thrown out there way too much. I will agree with that.
I like to keep it in reserve.
Yeah, as you should. Keep it in your pocket. Keep the 10 for a rainy day, and then blow his head off. Now, more importantly,
Oh, here we go.
that's a great choice.
Thank you, sir.
That's a great choice. I don't need to say anything else.
No. Moving
I'm
along.
not going to. So, yeah. Moving on. My third film is also a modern day cult. If you know anything about this, you should agree this has a cult following, and it's only 7 years old.
Okay.
It is the 2010 Nicholas Winding Refn film called Drive.
Oh,
Now,
Yes,
when
it
you when
does.
you watch this, and I like how you're shaking your head. That's a nod of respect,
Yes,
right?
it
You
is.
respect this film a lot.
yes.
You understand this is even if you didn't know that this had a cult following, you could since you've watched this, you could be like, I could totally see this movie having a cult
Oh,
following.
absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Ryan Gosling, this
Ah.
is gonna go down as textbook signature Gosling in his prime.
Yes,
right?
it is. It is.
It is. I guarantee you. Oscar Isaac. This is when he was first coming on the scene. I mean, he's a graduate of Juilliard.
Absolutely.
Carey Mulligan, the great Albert Brooks, the great Ron Pullman. Albert Brooks. 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, this is how I feel Baby Driver's going to be, except on adrenaline and with a little more, I don't know, just I guess on adrenaline and electricity.
Okay. Yeah.
But man. Now, here's the thing. If you
Okay.
go back and you watch the trailers mismarketed this. They thought you thought watching trailers was going to be like a
Like a Fast and Furious kind of thing or something like that.
yeah, like on the edge of your seat,
Yeah.
a nonstop action-filled adrenaline rush type thing, and it's not like that at all. It's
No.
a character study. It's dramatic. It's a psychological thriller / noir.
Yes.
Beautiful cinematography, beautiful color scheme,
Absolutely.
beautiful music by Cliff Martinez. Everything about it, the story was well written. What separates this film and what's going to make it a cult following, what has made it a cult following, is the filmmaking, the great filmmaking behind it by Nicholas Winding Refn,
Yes, sir.
as well as the acting. This is
Epic actors and actresses, man.
I can't think of a better Gosling performance than this.
This is like this was his coming of age, if you ask
This
me.
is what put him in the A-list. This
Yes.
film right here.
Yes.
This is what took him from the Mickey Mouse Club and put him on the A-list.
Yeah, when he went from the kids' table to the grown-ups table, absolutely.
Correct.
Number.
I'm giving it a 9.5. Now, that could be considered a personal thing.
Yeah, I would agree with you on it though.
Okay, good.
I can't give it a 10, but I can give it a 9.5. Absolutely.
Right.
Okay. My third film. What's an episode of 3 Geeks Flix without the tech mentioning a sci-fi movie? Well, it's probably really not one. So if you see those imitators out there, it wasn't us. And if they didn't
Right.
mention a sci-fi movie from the tech, it wasn't me. So I don't really talk about this series enough, and I kind of feel bad. And this is truly and honestly a clutch film for me. I can watch this any time of day, whether it's on regular TV, whether I just want to sit down and check it out, or whether I want to have it in the background. But it is one of the many Star Trek films out there, ladies and gentlemen. It was directed by Jonathan Frakes, who is, of course, #1. It is First Contact, and the reason I like First Contact, of course, it's got Spiner, of course, it absolutely has Patrick Stewart, but it brings the Borg, and I love the Borg as a bad guy. I absolutely just think they're one of the most awesome bad guys there are out there, and awesome is now a word. I stutter it not. But you get to see the Borg Queen. They go a little back in time. They tell the backstory of the first warp drive. There's some great scenes coming on and off the planet and the ship. Just kind of shows you how sinister and badass the Borg truly are, and how hard a fight the Enterprise crew had through all this. I think it was one of the best performances by the whole crew in a movie, other than Nemesis. But it's just a warm feeling. It's just a fun movie. In all these movies, they sit down and you kind of have to think, but you don't have to think too hard, and you can just enjoy it. And it's got your big bads that you love to see. It's got some great space battle scenes, amazing CGI in all the films. Jonathan Frakes absolutely loves the Star Wars universe, the craft, the storytelling that he does. Yes, I'm geeking out right now, and that's fine. That's what I'm supposed to do. But it's not a 10, and it's not a 9.5, and it's not necessarily even a 9. I would have to give it an 8.5. It's not the most epic film, but it's a fun clutch to sit down, to have on whenever, and it is probably one of my favorites. Enough said.
Okay. I like it. What was the year you said that came out again?
The year was 1996. I do not think I said it, so now I have.
Okay.
A little checks and balances right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Okay. I dig it. Definition of a clutch.
Yes, sir.
Okay, moving on. My fourth film is the classic film.
Classic film. What year?
1969.
Oh, wow. That is classic.
It's a little film called Butch, Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
That is classic.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, that's my fourth film.
Whoa, he hasn't even got to the mic drop.
See, that's the thing. I'm glad you said that, because now I don't have to. This very well could have been the mic drop of the episode. Okay. Well, from my perspective, right?
Yes.
It is not.
Quick loading, smartass.
Right? So, here's the thing. Directed by George Roy Hill, the great Paul Newman, rest in peace. The great Robert Redford. This was his film debut. Mm-hmm. Now, he had been a stage actor before this. Yes. And this was so iconic in his career. That's why he actually started the Sundance Film Festival, because of this role. Most people don't know that. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Newman and the director, Mr. Hill, had to fight for him. They had some other great actors at the time. Mm-hmm. That they were Steve McQueen, some other A-listers, and they never heard of him.
Right.
And how iconic is Sundance in this?
Oh, man.
How iconic is Butch Cassidy? How iconic is this movie? Etta, played by Catherine Ross, won the Oscar for Best Screenplay of that year.
Can't argue it, bro. Can't argue it at all.
I mean, if you had to pick, man, between being Butch Cassidy, that chocolate silk, Butch Cassidy, right?
Yeah.
Or that shimmering, spicy Sundance Kid.
Couldn't do it, bro. I can't do it right off the top. Can't do it.
Saber killed that one.
You can
I know what happened. Sundance would kill both of them with his eyes closed. But yeah, man, for real, there's not a lot you got to say about this.
No, no, not at all. Not at all. Homage is paid by the name alone.
And it really is a clutch. I mean, this is a clutch. This comes on TV, comes on TNT, comes on all those, and when it comes on, you watch it. That's what you do. You watch it. It's like,
that's what you do best.
It's just like the Geico commercial. That's what you do.
Okay,
you watch it.
Okay, there you go. Of course, I think I have an idea what the number is, but what is it for you, sir?
Do you think, honestly, let's be objective for a second.
Yes.
Did this change? Now, you could say, but before I give you my number, let's talk about the soundtrack for a second. This is a iconic Western film.
Yes.
And at one of the most iconic scenes in the entire movie, what song do they play? Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Right? Think about that. What other Western can you know that can pull that off like that did?
That's it, man. That's it. That's the film. And that's why I know what the number is, and that's, the film itself, you just have to watch it, and watch it once. And people, if you haven't seen it, the Muse has already sold you on it, and if he hasn't, sit down and check it out. Oh my God, you cannot call yourself a film aficionado if you have not enjoyed this movie.
Right. Let yourself enjoy it.
Yes.
You've had a rough week, give yourself a treat. In this case, too. Yes. It's a 10. I mean, it is a 10. How iconic is that ending scene as well? The very ending. I'm not going to give any no spoilers.
Talked about to this day, and nothing has lived up to it. So, yeah. Thank you, Rocco. He says it's a 10 as well. He's just agreeing. It's okay.
He gets excited when I talk about this. It's one of his favorite films. He likes Robert Redford's hair a lot.
Okay.
He likes Paul Newman's eyes.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic, sir. And there's no way I can follow that up. There's no way I can sum up any movie better than that. So I'm just going to roll into it. My next film is a 1992 film. It is an Andrew Davis film. It stars Steven Seagal, Gary Busey, and Tommy Lee Jones in Under Siege. Now, that's a great clutch.
Great film, bro. Yeah.
That's a great clutch. It is
a great clutch.
It is Seagal in all his glory. Tommy Lee Jones played an epic bad guy. Gary Busey, before the accident and the insanity completely took the rest of his brain and acting ability.
Got to keep the frustration out of it.
Had some epic moments, some epic scenes. The fight scenes, Seagal's badassery on display for all to see. There's not really to say a whole lot about, folks. I mean, the man's not known for his acting prowess. He's known for being that smooth, cool, stone cold, yet always has a little something to say when he's kicking your ass and putting you 6 feet under. So, if you sit there and say that you've watched this and you couldn't at least give it an 8 to an 8.5, you haven't really sat and watched it. Because this is a thing of 90s action legend.
Right.
So, really is. And this is some of these actors in their prime. So, it's worth a view, baby. It's worth a spin. Give it a spin.
Right.
Under Siege. And like I said, it's at least, it's an 8.
Yeah, that's a textbook clutch. That is a textbook clutch. Textbook example.
I've got a couple of those. Yeah. Moving on.
Moving on. My final film.
Okay.
Is also, I don't know if this is necessarily a textbook clutch, but when you hear it, you're going to be like, that's got to be a clutch.
Okay. Wait.
1976 Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver.
Oh, man. Bringing out the guns, the old school guns. Wow. Hey.
Okay. Robert De Niro.
Yes.
Jodie Foster's film debut.
Mm-hmm.
Harvey Keitel.
Harvey.
Most people forget about that.
Oh, I know
Man,
Harvey.
how awesome was he in that?
Harvey, baby. Harvey.
Remember that hair? Remember that hair? Remember that wardrobe he was sporting?
Yeah, and if you
Those
don't know who
bell-bottoms?
Harvey is, just IMDb him and see all the filmography that he's got, and you'll feel stupid because you'll know who he is.
You know who he is.
Oh, yeah.
You know who he is.
Oh, yeah.
99% again on Rotten Tomatoes. This is one of the original gangsters as far as psychological thrillers.
Yeah.
As far as neo-noir Americano.
Yes.
This won the grand prize at the film Cannes Festival that year. Well deserved.
Somebody's done
I mean,
some work.
This is another one where people of our generation, people of our generation and younger, they hear this movie talked about with such high praise.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they might not have seen it. A lot of times they just hear about it.
Yeah.
Right? You hear about this.
Yeah.
For that generation of the 70s, this is one of the most decade-defining films of all time for the 70s.
Yeah.
If you look on any formal critics list, this is probably in their top 25 films of all time.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you do any research about it. This is considered one of the greatest films ever made, as far as, especially for that genre of film. I mean, the depths in which De Niro went. I mean, as far as making it, he spent 8 months working, I think it was like 14-hour days as a real cabbie beforehand. He actually did some dental work to his teeth. I mean, this is what, again, this is essentially his drive. This could be one of his signature defining roles. When I think of Robert De Niro's acting, this is the first film I think of. It's Taxi Driver.
Right. I would agree with you, sir. What's your number?
You could say the same thing about Martin Scorsese, too. When you think of Martin Scorsese, do you not think of this film?
Yes, absolutely. It's one of the greats. One of the great films. And like I asked, what's your number?
Well, I'm not going to say as far as the filmmaking, it's a 10.
Okay.
I will say as far as acting goes, it's a 10. Because what Robert De Niro did and the depths that he went and the realism and the grittiness, it raised everyone else's game. If you do some research about it and what actors talk about with that particular role, it's just like Heath Ledger's The Joker, in my opinion. I mean, that performance, The Dark Knight in and of itself may not be a 10, but Heath Ledger's performance elevates that to a 10. Like maybe it was a 9.5. It's very similar here for that generation. So yeah. I got to give it a 10.
Okay. And I can agree 100% with you. It is... There's not much you have to say about it. There's not much else you can say other than if you haven't sit down and watched it, I mean, do yourself a favor, just like with Butch Cassidy. Take the time, enlighten your mind.
Oh, there it is. And it is a clutch. I mean, this comes on TV all the time.
Yes.
If it comes on, you watch it. That's what you do.
That's what you do. Because that's what you do best. My last film. I don't necessarily think it's going to hold up or hold a candle or a stone to those last two. But it is a 1993 film. It is another Andrew Davis film. It has Mr. Tommy Lee Jones in it again, as well as Mr. Harrison Ford.
Yep.
In The Fugitive. Now, Dr. Richard Kimball here, the man with one arm, and the whole story itself, I mean, golly. Of all of Harrison Ford's films, I think this is actually, even including some of the Indiana Jones films, this is one of his greatest performances.
Signatures, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of his greatest performances, folks. Tommy Lee Jones, epically himself. I love his character. Gerard.
Epically himself.
Yes, epically himself. Well, you know, yeah. the U.S. Marshal, Sam Gerard, that he plays.
Yeah, yeah.
I absolutely think that character is just awesome. The man just screams badass. And it just gets better every single time I see it and watch it and sit down and watch it. And it doesn't matter where it's at or what it's on or anything like that. I'm captivated. I'm into it, even though I know how everything ends. So, like I said, folks, this is another one of those movies that if you have not sat down and enjoyed it, it's got some great actors and actresses in it. It's got a fantastic story. Andrew Davis was a man of the 90s in directing to be reckoned with. This movie is a 9. For me, it's easily a 9. Jones and Ford were just epic. Just epic. And I really could go on and on and on, but I'm not going to. So, given that, I'm definitely going to have to bow to the muse on this one. He dropped the mic twice on me and walked off, and we all know pretty much what he said. F*** you, Twilight. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hands down, sir.
Thank you.
So, check us out on Facebook, 3 Geeks Flix. Give us a like, comment, holler, troll us. You don't do Facebook? We've got Twitter. It's at the number 3 Geeks Flix. Flix is, of course, spelled F-L-I-X. Give us a follow there. Give us a holler there. Troll there. Get involved. You are the third geek. Get on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a like. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like to see more of. Let us know if you thought these films were rated correctly by us, the geeks. Because quite frankly, folks, we want to get you involved. We'd like to have you on a show. We are serious about our fan base and us being involved and being on speaking terms and not feeling like an angry divorced couple. But we really won't go any more into that because I'm kind of getting off track. Help me, help me, help me. You don't look at me like that. Help me.
No, I like watching this plane crash.
Appreciate y'all sticking around and stay tuned to the glow of those monitors because we're going to catch you next time. Good night. You rotten bastard.
Yeah. I'm just sitting there. He's gonna scream, "Help me!" and I'm gonna whisper, "Save or kill." Butch, Cassidy and Sanet's kid, or Taxi Driver.
There's times that you just need to be punched right in the mouth.
Yeah.
And that's one of them.
That's what I do. Are you recording?
Yes.
Of course.
Not really sure what that was.
Story of my life. That's what you said? That may not be appropriate.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate how spicy I am. How quick-witted I can be.
I'm gonna leave that one.
Hello, everyone!